Today, we are taking this plain old wooden panel and voila, what are we doing? You might think, oh my gosh, I gotta be a Michelangelo to do this. I dug this out from about 15 years ago. Yeah, you know, I've always thought if you see some chunks there, just kind of, you know, give it a good squeeze like that and move the chunks around, move them around, and the paint is good to go. So for the corner floating shelves, I decided, why not do something cool? Make it look like these wooden shelves are holding up old rusting steel panels, and that's where I got the idea. And this is one of those projects that has been getting increasingly out of hand. You start a project and everything's happy and you're, you know, it's a dance party, and then like, you know, weeks into it, you're like, when is this gonna end? You know, so let's start cutting some corners, right? So let's start with another panel here, and we'll start with a little one. This took a ton of trial and error. I thought, easy. Painting metal, my go-to thing, hammered metal effect, okay? You just like put it on. I've done it on PVC pipe for my Halloween projects. It really looks like metal. It didn't work. It looked terrible. It just, the hammering effect didn't come out at all. It just looked like wood painted silver. I even considered like burning my phone, because it's not enough to delete the footage sometimes. Like when you like screw up that badly, sometimes you just want to burn the equipment too. So it's just like completely forgotten. I ended up like sanding the whole thing down. And as I sanded, what I noticed, if you look really closely, well, look at all these like little pitting looking things. Well, that's what happens when you have a really thick buildup of this hammered metal, and then you try and sand it down. You get these like little black spots on here. And that's just kind of like the paint gumming up your sandpaper. It's just like a gummy bear effect that happens. And it actually ended up being like fortuitous. This board has a layer of black and then a layer of that hammered metal, which you can substitute medium gray, way less expensive. What I'm gonna do is take this little sponge here and use 80 grit paper, and you can see it's already been used quite a bit. To give me more oomph, I'm gonna flip the board that way. So let's see what kind of effect we get. And the idea is just to put scratches in it. And I like to alternate arms, because you don't want like one giant Popeye arm and then the other arm to be kind of like a wet piece of noodle. We already see that it's getting pretty dull, and you start seeing the scratch marks. Now, depending on how much black you want to show through, for instance, on this board, I'm gonna put that up here, you saw that I scratched way more, and you can see some of these black showing through from that black base coat. So I'm gonna do a couple different styles showing different wear patterns. You know, maybe this one didn't stay outside as long as the other one. So the next step for this is I'm going to take some of my really old black paint, and let me mix up the chunks. And then I found that just a plain brown like this one's called burnt umber, and then red oxide. Really, those are all the colors I use to create that other effect. And to make it look really rusty, like grungy looking, mix in a little bit of sawdust, because now you're getting that texture in there as well. Now, I'm not gonna do that because we're gonna be sliding things on and off this shelf, so it's just gonna be going. We're gonna do what's called dry brushing, and I'm just gonna wipe as much of it off as possible. And this is really forgiving, so feel free to kind of start. And I find that if you make a mistake, the best thing to do is to own your mistake, and then all of a sudden it just makes it look really better. So, you know, go nuts on your mistake. So I'm gonna start on this edge, and all I'm gonna do is just kind of flick in like that. So you start seeing some black edging, and that's because rust, I notice, kind of starts on the edge and starts to work its way in. So also when you sand, you know, I kind of went He-Man and exposed some of the black or the wood here. So I definitely want to hide that error. Ooh, that's too much. Uh-oh. Oh no, I screwed it up. I'm just gonna own it, just own it like that. There we go, let's just own this. But oftentimes, your whoopses end up looking the best. And then, you know, maybe some areas are a little more rusty. A little happy cloud. I'm gonna get my Barros on right now, yeah. Whoa, oh no, I messed it up. Oh, that is looking really bad right now. But you know what? We'll burn it in the end. And I did this to the last panel and it looked pretty cool. I'm doing it to this panel. It's not looking so cool. And that is some plain brown right there. And move that over there where I will put my arm on, no doubt. We'll put in some like happy little birds here, and the rust is just bleh, you know. And we're not gonna need very much of this. This is where you wanna be kind of like sparing with it, which means I'm gonna do the exact opposite. So you can see some of that brown beginning to form, and I'll go ahead and lift this for you guys to see. A happy little rust spot. Such a happy little rust spot. There we go. I'm gonna hold it up for you guys. Let's see if I got this right. Oh, right there. And you can see kind of what's going on. Whoa, what's going on there? Uh-oh, I'm making it worse. I'm making it worse. Oh, all right, okay. Okay, I made it better. Crisis averted. All right, didn't I say like however long ago in this stream that I was gonna put my hand in the paint? I just put my hand in the paint. Oh no. It's like, stop moving your brush, you're making it worse. All right, so I think it's getting to be pretty much enough here. What do you guys think? That looks pretty rusty, I think. I'm happy with it. So thank you all so much for joining me. I'm gonna take your suggestions and continue putting rivets all the way down this panel. You know, I decided to get my Barros on tonight.